Okay. So have you ever been craving something really specific late at night? It's 2 a.m. and suddenly pizza sounds amazing.
Yeah, happens all the time.
And you jump online and bam, there it is. This place you swear you've never even heard of before with the perfect pepperoni pizza.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going with this.
That, my friend, is the power of
It's
SEO.
kind of like a secret code for the internet.
Exactly. This deep dive is all about SEO, what it is, why it matters, and how it can make or break a business online.
Because seriously, if your business isn't showing up online, it's like it doesn't even exist.
Right, imagine you've poured your heart and soul into creating this amazing thing, but it's hidden away on some deserted side street of the internet.
No one's going to find it, no matter how great it is.
Exactly. SEO is like getting that prime real estate on the main street where everyone's already hanging out.
And this source we're looking at calls SEO a popularity contest in the digital world, which I kind of love.
Instead of charming voters, though, you're trying to win over Google.
Yeah, it's Google you've got to impress.
So how do we become Google's favorite? Asking for a friend who may or may not have a website that's gathering digital dust.
Oh, this is a big one. It all boils down to two things: relevance and authority.
Relevance, like how closely your website actually matches what people are searching for.
Exactly. And authority is like how trustworthy and legit Google thinks your site is.
Okay, so it's not just about cramming in a bunch of popular keywords and hoping for the best.
Not anymore, no.
I,
I mean, back in the day, maybe.
yeah, I confess I might have tried that on my old blog. Didn't work out so well.
Yeah, Google's onto us now. They're way smarter than that.
So what are they looking for?
One of the biggest things is something called backlinks.
Backlinks.
Yeah, basically it's when other websites link back to yours, kind of like giving you a vote of confidence.
So the more high-quality backlinks you have.
The more Google thinks, hey, this website is legit.
Makes sense.
It's like if the New York Times linked to your blog. Google will be like, whoa, this person must be doing something right.
Instant street cred. But hold on, how does Google even find all these websites in the first place?
Yeah, that's where those spider bots come in.
Spider bots. Sounds a little creepy, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit, right? But they're not as scary as they sound. They're just automated programs that crawl around the internet, following links and indexing everything they find.
Okay, so it's like having these little digital librarians organizing the entire internet.
Exactly. And the more organized and user-friendly your website is,
The easier it is for the spider bots to do their thing.
exactly.
And that helps your ranking.
Big time.
Yeah.
And speaking of rankings, we could talk about keyword optimization. That's a really key part of all of this.
Keyword optimization. Is that like using the right words so the spider bots know what your website's all about?
It's a little more than that. It's about using the same words your target audience is using when they're searching for something.
Yeah.
Like, what are they actually typing into that Google search bar?
Oh, so it's not just about what I think is important. It's about what my audience actually cares about.
Now you're getting it.
Tell me more. So spill the beans. How do we pick the right keywords? Is there a secret dictionary somewhere?
If only it were that easy, right?
Yeah.
But this source about DBL07, that SEO company we mentioned, they seem to really get it.
What do you mean?
Well, they understand that it's not just about finding any old keyword and stuffing it in your website a million times.
Yeah, that's so old school.
Totally. It's about understanding your audience, figuring out their language. What are they really searching for?
And you were saying before how this source talks about a bakery DBL's Arrow 7 helped.
Right. So instead of just focusing on the keyword cakes, which is crazy competitive, they help them get super specific,
How specific?
like vegan, gluten-free cupcakes specific. Because guess what? People are out there searching for that.
And they're more likely to find that bakery if they're using those exact words, right?
Bingo. It's about meeting your audience where they are.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But, and maybe this is a dumb question, but isn't it enough to just do SEO once and then forget about it?
Oh man, I wish. This source about DBL07, they stress how SEO is an ongoing thing.
You don't just plant a garden and then never water it again.
Exactly. You've got to keep tending to it if you want it to grow.
So what does that look like, tending to your SEO garden?
Well, for starters, Google is constantly updating their algorithms, those rules that determine your ranking. So you've got to stay informed about those changes.
Sounds like a lot to keep up with.
It can be, yeah. And then there's refreshing your content, making sure it's still relevant, and building those high-quality backlinks we talked about earlier.
Okay, so it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. But here's the million-dollar question. How do you know when to DIY your SEO versus calling in a professional? like DBLR07.
Yeah, because hiring someone can get expensive, and there are a lot of SEO gurus out there who might not be legit.
Right. And this source actually gives some pretty solid advice on that. They say one of the biggest red flags is if your website isn't showing up on at least the first couple of pages of Google for your desired keywords.
So if you're that amazing bakery, but you're buried on page 5 of the search results for vegan, gluten-free cupcakes,
You've got a problem.
and you're probably missing out on a lot of cupcake lovers.
Big time.
Okay, so that's a sign you might need some help. But what about the actual DIY stuff? Like, what can people actually do themselves?
There's a lot, actually. And this source does a nice job breaking it down, like optimizing your website's structure.
What does that even mean?
Well, it's about making sure your website is easy for both humans and those spider bots to navigate,
Mhm.
like having clear headings, using internal links strategically, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So it's not just about the words themselves, it's about how everything's organized on your site.
Exactly. Think of it like this.
Okay.
If you walked into a library where all the books were just thrown haphazardly on shelves, would you want to stay there?
Not really.
No, you'd probably turn around and leave. It's the same with your website.
Hmm.
Google wants to recommend sites that are well organized, easy to use, and actually provide a good user experience.
It makes sense.
And then there's things like writing good meta descriptions.
Meta descriptions. Those are those little snippets of text that show up under your website's title in the search results, right?
They got it. And they're super important because they give people a quick preview of what your site's all about.
So you've got to make those count.
Absolutely. But it's a lot to juggle, right?
It sounds like it. So when do you know it's time to throw in the towel and call in a pro?
It's different for everyone, but a good rule of thumb is if you're feeling overwhelmed or if you've been trying to improve your SEO for a while and you're just not seeing any results.
That's a sign it might be time to bring in some reinforcements.
Exactly.
It's like I can handle painting a room, but if I had to like rewire my entire house, I'm calling an electrician.
100%. And this source makes a really good point, which is that sometimes with SEO, going for the cheapest option ends up being more expensive in the long run.
Because those too good to be true promises often come with hidden costs, right?
Mm.
Like maybe they use shady tactics that get you a quick boost.
Exactly. But then Google catches on and penalizes your site, and suddenly you're worse off than you were before.
It's like building a house on a foundation of sand. It might look okay for a bit.
But eventually, the whole thing crumbles. This source really emphasizes that sustainable SEO is about playing the long game.
So no shortcuts. You know, what's really interesting to me is how much SEO has changed, even in the past few years. It's not just about, like, tricking the system anymore.
Totally. It's
Right.
way more holistic now. In fact, this source even talks about how user experience plays a big role in SEO these days.
User experience, you mean like how easy and enjoyable it is to actually use my website?
Exactly. Because Google's smart, right?
Yeah.
If people are landing on your site and immediately bouncing off because it's confusing or slow or just plain ugly,
Google's going to notice that.
and they're going to think, maybe this website isn't actually that great, and they'll be less likely to recommend it.
So it's not enough to just like stuff your site with keywords and hope for the best.
Not at all. You've got to create a website that people actually want to spend time on.
Because at the end of the day, it's about connecting with humans, not just algorithms.
Exactly. And that brings us to a final thought-provoking idea from all of this. We've talked a lot about traditional search, typing words into a search bar, but with voice search becoming more and more common.
With things like Siri and Alexa, yeah.
How might that change the SEO game? Will we have to optimize for voice commands? Conversational queries?
That's a great question. Like, what happens when everyone's searching by talking instead of typing?
Exactly. Something to keep an eye on.
It's mind-blowing when you think about it.
Great.
But for now, we've reached the end of our SEO deep dive.
We covered a lot of ground today.
We did.
Mm.
From spider bots to backlinks to the importance of user experience, we've explored some key strategies for boosting your online visibility.
Hopefully now you're feeling a little less lost and a lot more empowered to navigate the ever-evolving world of SEO.
And who knows, maybe your business will be the one that pops up the next time someone's craving pizza at 2 a.m. Until next time.